Okay, I apologise, it's a bit rough and ready. Kind of underestimated how long the prep for this would be. So, I scripted it while going for a walk in town, and so I've got it all on my laptop, so ready to go. So, it's International Mental Health Day today, and many people know diagnosed with bipolar, as the mood disorder comprised of both manic and depressive episodes. No, this video isn't about me, because I'm one of the lucky ones. I can make this video. I'm out, I've got no need to hide it. My work knows, my friends know, my colleagues know, my family know, and I've had so much love and support. So this is for the people who aren't as lucky as me, or the newly diagnosed, or those suffering alone and not spoken to anyone about it. So it's not a poor me, a pity me. My medication works, I'm mostly stable. I have up and down days, but that's normal, isn't it? I could just be a bit quirkier. So that's a big part of it. What is normal? So what I thought I'd do earlier today is put on Facebook and see if anyone has any questions for me. If they're curious about anything to do with living with this diagnosis. I don't like saying illness, I don't really feel ill. But that's one of the things, what terms do you use? And first of all, on the post, there's loads of likes and comments, and I feel so lucky to have lots of lovely people in my life offering so much support. So I've received a couple of questions, and the first was, on your travels and all the people you've met, have you come across people, in your opinion, people who have, in your opinion, a mental disorder but haven't had it diagnosed? Definitely. Yeah, it's one of those things, I guess, you can smell your own in a way. Someone I met a couple of months ago and asked a mutual friend, are they in the club? Their comment was, not diagnosed yet. That leads on to the question, when does something become a disorder? When does something become an illness? I guess it's normally defined as when it's affecting your life, damaging relationships, risking your job, stopping you functioning in societies, getting in the way of your studies, etc. One of the first things for me was failing college. I was having a bit of mania, quite a bit of depression, which doesn't go well with being motivated to study, or sitting there quietly, especially when you're at the stage in education when you're having to self-support yourself more. There's so many people where it's affecting them, but they don't want to bother a doctor or get labelled mentally ill. Things have got a lot better, but there can still be that stigma. So with bipolar, you have a depression and you have a mania. Well, everyone knows mood swings, don't they? In a way, are most people on a spectrum somewhere? Like, is there this normal band of emotions and some of us have this extension to it? It's hard to know the line where you cross from being down to depressed, from being elated to hypomanic. And there's no shame in asking a professional if you're worried that you've crossed that line. A psychiatrist is the only one who can really diagnose an illness. When it's a problem is when it's affecting your life. When you're dreading getting out of bed in the morning, waking up upset that you've not died in your sleep, if you're depressed and it's hard to drag yourself out of bed. Many people think it's just laziness. I've had all that. I'm not lazy or unmotivated. This month I've completed my 11th marathon. Can't do that if you're unmotivated, can you? Things like that. That's not a normal down. That's when you should go to see someone. There are many treatment options nowadays, and we're lucky to live in these modern times. People don't disappear into asylums anymore. There isn't a shame in needing or asking for help. Treatment isn't perfect though. There can be side effects from medication. Certainly from mine. I was never good with mornings unless I was up, and my meds make me drowsy in the mornings, which can be awful. I'm often late for work and other appointments, but my boss knows about it and is very understanding. I always make up the time, so less of a problem, and they've made allowances for me. The other question I received was, hi, I've had depression and anxiety before, so maybe I can kind of relate to your lows, but I've no idea what it's like to have the highs you enjoy. What is it like? It seems like a blissful up or mania or something, but not sure if it's just a reverse of depression, or a stereotypical view of what bipolar is like from programmes such as Homeland, where the beautiful, intelligent female agent is hobbled and her career is almost destroyed by bipolar in Series 1. I have an uncle who has bipolar, but he lives abroad and I don't feel close enough to ask him what it feels like. Part of me feels ashamed to ask what it's like, and as it's something you struggle with, but that shame doesn't help either of us. And you're right, first of all, the shame doesn't help anyone, but it's natural to feel it. But try not to have shame in asking. It's trying to understand what others are going through. It's a beautiful side of your humanity. You're trying to relate to others. There is definitely no shame in that. So thanks for coming forward and asking. The more that ask questions and the more people who answer questions, the more the walls of stigma are broken down. It's not just about people with and without diagnosis even. It's just humans understanding each other. So yeah, thanks for overcoming those doubts you had in asking. So I haven't actually seen those episodes of Homeland. Perhaps I'll have to watch more. I've read an article in The Guardian about it and it sounds like it's actually pretty accurate. I'll add a link to the article below. So in Homeland, the character Carrie, played by Claire Danes, so you have a scene in Homeland where Carrie is covering her walls and things are all coming together, her mind working really fast, making all those connections, and that is something we get. And, you know, when I was younger, there's it's an amusing incident really, where I just numbered everything in my parents' kitchen with marker pen, just to get everything in order, everything in its right place, everything connected how they should be. I mean, it's not solving crimes, but it's that kind of thing. And when you're in full mania, you're having these really fast thoughts, but they're not ordered as much as perhaps portrayed on a television. They're going so fast, it's hard to hold on to one before the next one comes along. And this article mentions that she exhibits lack of risk inhibition, elusiveness of sleep, promiscuity, alienation of friends and family, drinking. Yep, have all of those. So yeah, this sounds pretty accurate. One thing that particularly got me was a scene about acquiring a green pen. Oh, yeah, but it wouldn't be just a green pen. You'd want the perfect green pen. It'd be impossible to find. Everyone that you see will not be the right shade or not feel right or not flow right. You just become obsessed and find that perfection that cannot exist. And it apparently also portrays their recovery, getting back on the meds, because it's very common for people to become non-compliant. You know, I've been there myself and ended up in hospital. So yeah, and it portrays her trying to get back to normal sleeping patterns. So back to the question of mania. So the Diagnostical and Statistical Manual of Mental Disorders, the DSM, defines it as criteria for manic episode: a distinct period of abnormality and persistently elevated, expansive or irritable mood lasting at least 1 week or any duration of hospitalisation is necessary. During a period of mood disorder, 3 or more of the following symptoms have persisted and have been present to a significant degree. 1. Inflated self-esteem or grandiosity. 2. Decreased need for sleep. 3. More talkative than usual or pressure to keep talking. 4. Flight of ideas, a subjective experience that thoughts are racing. 5. Distractibility. 6. Increasing goal-directed activity. 7. Excessive involvement in pleasurable activities that have a high potential for painful consequences. So yeah, that's how the symptoms are defined, how a psychiatrist would diagnose you. But I've not actually answered how it feels. So this is actually very personal to me, because I don't know what's in someone else's head. Everyone is different. How do I know that you see the colour red the same as I do? It might feel totally different to you. So to me, it's, well, you know, hypomania is like an euphoria, which isn't quite full mania. The world is more vibrant, you want to dance, you want to sing, put music, love everybody. It's like that nice stage of being drunk but nicer. And I do get that still sometimes, even though I'm medicated. And I do need to be careful at that stage, you know, recognise it, try not to get too stimulated and let myself go into full mania. And full mania can feel amazing. It's like the best high ever. I feel electric, tingly, thoughts are flying at 1,000,000 miles an hour. You feel like you can work out everything, you feel really intelligent, you feel really attractive. I mean, look at me, that's clearly a delusion. And you feel you love the world. You'll meet a random person and they'll be your best friend forever, and you'll want to know everything about them, and it'll be so intense. And sometimes that will cross over and you get megalomaniac thoughts. You can end up feeling like you're a god, which sounds ridiculous, but that is how it feels. You're so amped up. You feel like everything is quite spiritual as well. And then you get these thoughts where they're flying, they're so profound, they're amazing, you're working out secrets of the universe, but you can't hang on to them. And you're getting frustrated, they're going so fast. You try and focus and the thought's just gone. And you get distracted. You tying up your shoelace and you get distracted. Simplest tasks become really difficult because you're just so scatty, I guess, but you think you're functioning on this higher level. And you're just talking too fast for everyone, and no one can keep up with you, and then you end up thinking people are slow, and you can become a bit of an arsehole because you think you're better than everyone, because everyone's so slow. Why are they talking slowly? The world feels slow because you're moving so fast. And then there's can trigger off the psychosis side of things, hallucinations as well. I've been convinced people can hear my thoughts, convinced random strangers can hear my thoughts and that I'm crazy and they want to lock me away, and that random strangers can lock me away, which doesn't really happen nowadays. People get treatment. Even if you get arrested, the police are so much better at handling it now. And I do carry with me something that says I'm bipolar, so they know I'm not high on drugs or drunk or something like that. And there's the other thing, which I don't know if it's just a bipolar thing, but it's a thing called mixed state. So you get aspects of depression and aspects of mania together, which is a very dangerous mix. Because depression, you'll have suicidal ideation, but you can't be bothered to do anything. It doesn't feel worth it. You want an exit to make the pain go away, but you don't think you deserve to be without the pain. We're touching upon suicide, and that is a hard subject. For everyone, but I lost a close friend of mine to this illness. So, sometimes I laugh and joke about having bipolar, but the consequences can be very real and very painful. And so back to mixed state. And you've got negative thought process of depression, ticking away in your head. And, and sometimes I think I deserve to suffer, that I'm rotten. I bring illness and bad things to the world. Everything bad happening is my fault. Like a tragedy somewhere happens and I'll blame myself. I think, how dare I still be breathing when innocents have lost their lives? With mixed state, you've also got the ups. You have the drive to do something and you have the energy. And you just want to do something as well. And it's so hard to describe because, depression and mania are understandable, even if you can't feel it. Because everyone knows what it feels to be sad. Well, depression is further down. And everyone's been delated. And mania is, it's way up. But, it's just, you can almost extrapolate, can't you? But mixed state is a different bag. Not many people get that mix of both ends of a spectrum. Perhaps, I don't know how to describe it, really. And it's hard working out what to say on this video. And you're amazing if you've stuck with me this long. But it's only actually really half about the content. It's also saying to the world it's okay to not be okay. We're not freaks as well. And we can talk about these things. I'm kooky. Just look at my hair. And I'm talking to a camera at God knows what time in the morning. But I'm kooky, but I'm holding down a job. I'm keeping relationships. So to anyone who's struggling to see a light at the end of the tunnel, can hopefully look at me and see me. I'm not amazing, but I've got this illness and I'm living a good life. Some days I won't be able to be convinced of that, but I am, and I'm very grateful for this. So here I am. If anyone has more questions, feel free to ask. If anyone out there is struggling, come to me, speak to a friend, get some help. There's no shame visiting a doctor, calling a helpline, or asking a friend for a kind ear over a cup of tea. Very British of me, isn't it? It's not just today as well. It's World Mental Health Day. And it is a nudge, but we should always be asking our friends how you are. If you've not seen them for a while, would you like a cup of tea? It's always about a tea. And sometimes you will not be able to fix a friend who's struggling. But being there, telling them you love them, gives them a reason to fight. Those days when it's been hit or miss for me, it's those close to me that are fought for. I know how much pain someone exiting can cause, and I just want to try my hardest not to do that to them. But I can't actually make that promise, and that's just sad. But if someone you're close to is successful and commit suicide, just remember it's not your fault. It's not because you weren't a good enough friend or missed the signs. It's like any other illness taking someone. It's like a heart attack, like a stroke. Sometimes you can help, sometimes there's nothing that can be done. But your love in their lives made it special. And please forgive them.